Welcome back to the Aubergine Chef. Now today we'll be making something called Pecan Tassies, which is basically the cookie form of pecan pie. It's a really simple recipe, and we're going to go ahead and just get started right away. We need half a cup of butter, or 4 ounces, or 1 stick, and this needs to be softened to room temperature. You also need 3 ounces of cream cheese, also warmed up to room temperature, and then 1 cup of all-purpose flour, or 5 5/8 ounces. And then we're just going to go ahead and go straight to the mixer. Okay, so the first thing we're going to make in the recipe is the dough portion. And what we need to do is we need to put the room temperature stick of butter and the 3 ounces of room temperature cream cheese in a mixer with the paddle attachment. And we're going to go ahead and just blend them together. Okay, so once you've mixed together or blended together your cream cheese and your butter, go ahead and scrape down the sides of your bowl. And then go ahead and add the 5 5/8 ounces or 1 cup of all-purpose flour. And we're going to mix that together. Okay, so once your dough comes together, go ahead and take it off the mixer. We're basically just making a very simple, plain cookie dough. Alright, and just go ahead and take your dough out and put it onto a plate, and we need to let this dough chill for about an hour. So while this is chilling, we can go ahead and get the rest of our ingredients ready. And this recipe you can actually make without an electric mixer if you want to make it by hand. It's fairly easy to do, especially as long as your fats, your cream cheese and your butter are warmed up to room temperature. You shouldn't have any problem. Okay, so let's go ahead and put this in the refrigerator for about 1 hour. Okay, so I already went ahead and started forming most of my pecan tassie cups, and I'll show you how to do that. So this is the dough. It came out of the refrigerator. I've used up most of it because I made, let's see, almost 2 dozen now. So this recipe makes about 2 dozen of the mini cupcake cups. So you just take a piece of the dough, and you want it to be about 1 inch in diameter, and then squish it down a little bit. You don't have to, but I find that it helps you figure out where the bottom is or how thick the bottom is. And you just kind of just press it into the cup. Okay. And then 1 more. Now I have so much left over because my first ones were a little bit smaller than they should have been. So, but you're looking for about 1 inch, maybe 1.5 inches, 1.25 inches in size. Okay, and here I have 2 5/8 ounces of coarsely chopped pecans. You could probably go a little bit smaller than I did. My pieces are still fairly large. And this is also about 2/3 of a cup of chopped pecans. And what you want to do is you don't want to put a whole lot in at first. You kind of just want to fill it up about halfway. And these ones are so small, that's why you really need little pieces. But you don't want to have pecan powder either. So try to let your pecans have some form to them. Alright, so next we got to make the filling. So all you need to do to make the filling is you beat together 1 egg, 5 1/8 ounces of brown sugar or 3/4 cup, a teaspoon of vanilla, just a dash of salt. We're going to go ahead and mix that together. And then you also want to add in 1 tablespoon of room temperature butter, or softened butter. You can warm it up in the microwave. Okay, let's go ahead and add that tablespoon of butter. Let's go ahead and beat it in. You want to make sure to beat everything in so it's nice and smooth and uniform. Okay, once your mixture has come together, go ahead and start filling your cups. You just need to put about a spoonful in. And then, once you finish all your cups, just top it off with some more pecans. So I'm going to go ahead and finish up these pecan tassies. I'm also going to bake them in the oven at 325 degrees for about 20-25 minutes, just until the filling has set up. And then we're going to go ahead and let them cool all the way so we can release them. So our pecan tassies came out of the oven, and the way you can check if they're done is you gotta let them cool off, unfortunately. But to take them out, you just run your knife along the edge until they start to spin around. There's so much butter in the dough that it kind of like self-greases the pans. That's why you don't have to pre-grease them. But you can see that there's a little bit of a golden, light tan kind of coloring to it. The dough should be cooked through. It shouldn't be soft and doughy at all. But it shouldn't be hard and crunchy either. It should be a soft, almost chewy, very tender dough. And the filling will be either chewy and soft, like a pecan pie, or it might be a little crunchy. It just depends on your pecans. If they're big like mine, then the syrup and the pecans may make a more crunchy texture, but if yours is a little bit more finer, it might make a more chewy texture. So keep that in mind. You can also try and squeeze in a little bit more syrup and adjust the ratio. More syrup, the chewier it'll be. So remember, once again, just to release it, just run your knife along the edge until it starts to spin, and it should pop right out. Okay, so that's how you make pecan tassies. Now these cookies can be kept at room temperature. They're perfectly fine. You don't need to refrigerate them if you don't want to. And they also freeze actually very well. And they travel pretty well too. I mean, like if you want to send them in a care package, they should hold up pretty well. The only staling you'll see is probably that the cookie crust will get a little, stale, kind of like stale bread or whatever, stale cookies. But other than that, they hold up really well and they last a long time. So these are definitely one of those great cookies you should keep on hand. So I hope you learned a lot today. Thanks for watching. And remember, the Aubergine Chef, demystifying dessert, one recipe at a time.